other people through iPhone, I know. No, that was
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvatana.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Matri Dhanvat. How is Yuvendra Prabhu doing?
He is okay, Prabhuji. He is better now.
Is he still in hospital or he is back home?
He's back in home, Prabhuji. He is now in home only. He's better now, Prabhuji.
Completely recovered? Not yet. Still some effects are there.
No, little weakness is there, Prabhuji. He's a little weak. I mean, long hours. He's not able to stand for long and do the work for long. He needs short breaks. But otherwise, he's coping up well only, Prabhuji. We went to doctor also day before yesterday, and we stopped antibiotics also, Prabhuji.
So now breathing, no concerns.
Yeah, as of now, there's no concern, Prabhuji. He's recovering, Prabhuji. Yesterday, actually, we went to Rath Yatra also, Prabhuji. Actually, I was scared that he might get tired, but he could stay for some time, Prabhuji. 3-4 hours we could stay there.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam.
Yugandhar Prabhu, I'm happy to hear you. How are you doing, Prabhu?
I'm doing well, Prabhuji, now. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry for what you have to go through.
Yeah, Prabhuji, unfortunately. But thank God I'm able to come back.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। जय श्री प्रभुपाद।
दंडवत प्रणाम श्वेता माता।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
सुमय माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम। जय श्री प्रभु। We'll wait for a couple of more minutes.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
श्रीनिवास प्रभु दंडवत प्रणाम। जय श्री प्रभुपाद। So today's topic is very, very interesting and very difficult topic. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। So we have progressed to verse number 6. Now discussion will go little more intense, and next verse will be lot more intense. So how to see the Lord's devotees? Uh, so this is what we are going to discuss. This verse speaks about Vaishnav Aparad, and we'll see how Aparad may happen, the consequences of Vaishnav Aparad, what constitutes an Aparad, how to avoid Aparad, how to overcome the consequences if we have committed some Aparad. In the beginning, Prabhupada speaks about what is Shuddha Bhakti and how Lord's devotee should not be seen, how not to see the devotees of the Lord. So beginning with what is Shuddha Bhakti, Prabhupada says Shuddha Bhakti is something which is free from personal desires and personal motives. So Shuddha Bhakti, like as you see in the picture, Shuddha Bhakti is what is performed for the pleasure of Krishna. Uh, when the heart is flowing towards Krishna, out of attraction, out of love, out of desire, um, and then when all one cares about is loving Krishna, pleasing Krishna, then that is Shuddha Bhakti. And what makes Shuddha Bhakti Ashuddha? Rupa Goswami says personal motives makes devotional service mixed. Personal motive means what I want, what pleases me, that should happen. Then it's like the example given is like sweet rice mixed with some sand particles. If you eat sweet rice with sand particles, the whole sweet rice you can't eat because that conquer that it's just spoils that taste. Likewise, we may do something for pleasing Krishna, uh, but when the motive becomes personal, then it's not a very nice offering to Krishna. It's not very pleasing to Krishna. Then another thing that Shuddha Bhakti is free from is Anya Abhilashita Shunya. Anya Abhilash means any desire for oneself. Any desire for pleasing Krishna is proper Abhilash. Hare Krishna. I don't know if I have. Is it somewhere here? Max Guru has it. He went to drop F-Love. Listen.
I talked to my friend Robbie. When I talked to her mom, I think I'm just gonna bring her. Grab Robbie and drop her off. Okay.
Sorry, please forgive me. So there is Anya Abhilashita Shunya, which is devotional service should not be rendered for one's personal desires. Otherwise, it becomes impure. Hare Krishna. Can you put it back? Sorry. Then it is said, Jnana Karma Anavrita. Jnana means bhakti is not performed on the basis of knowledge. Like just now I was talking to one devotee, very wonderful devotee. He gave a very wonderful class today morning. We have another class. So I was listening to him. Very wonderfully he spoke. And then I was discussing him on this principle of how bhakti is free from jnana. And I was sharing my own realizations that initially we think by doing this, I can go closer to Krishna by chanting more rounds, by hearing more, by reading more. So we have many plans of how to progress, how to progress, how to progress, how to progress. And then we try to implement all we can, stretch ourselves, become sincere, give up all bad habits, do everything possible we can, um, uh, and engage ourselves in Krishna service as much as possible, if possible, all the time in Krishna service, and then we keep trying to keep progressing, and then at some point of time the deadlock comes, and the deadlock is like um, I'm doing whatever I could, but I'm not able to actually attract Krishna. And then one comes to the mood of uh, prayer. Prayer means, my Lord, please help. So bhakti is something which is not based on uh, uh, it is not based on actually knowledge. It is based on pleasing Krishna. Um, we will discuss in act of devotion. This is a very um, kind of, it may seems like a contradictory point, that is bhakti free from knowledge? Yes, bhakti is completely free from knowledge. Bhakti does not depend upon knowledge. Rather, knowledge gives rise to bhakti. Sorry, bhakti gives rise to knowledge. It is said that is knowledge and renunciation comes from bhakti. Some people think by renouncing I can please Krishna. Never. And some people think by giving up these things I can please Krishna. Never. Or there is example of, this is the actually introduction. There is an example of a brahmachari who would drink only milk, and then this is during Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, and he wanted to see the dance of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had he would dance every day with his close associate at the house of Srivas Thakur, who is basically incarnation of Narad Muni. So this milk drinking brahmachari, he came to Srivas Thakur and he said, I am doing a lot of austerities and I really want to see the dance of Lord Chaitanya. Srivas Thakur, when he heard that, oh, you don't eat anything, you just drink only milk, and you dress so simply, and um, um, you are so minimalistic in your life, and you don't have any possessions. You have done so much sacrifice for Krishna. That's amazing. So he says, come. He becomes very impressed, Srivas Thakur. So he brings him in, and then he said, don't come out, but from behind the pillar, you can see the dance of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with all his associates, and Mahaprabhu started dancing in his internal mood. And then Mahaprabhu said, I'm not feeling um, the same like I feel every time. Means there is somebody who does not have that pure devotion, who is kind of mixing the moods, who's kind of making me also not feel the same connection. There is somebody um, who's not there yet. Somebody who should not be there is here. Shivas, is there anybody other than who I'm seeing? And Shivas Thakur said, my Lord, there is no atheistic person. There is no Mayavadis. There is no Karmis. There is no Gyanis. There are none of those people. There is just a very austere person who really wants to take your darshan. And he saw austere that he drinks only milk. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, bring that milk drinking brahmachari out of the house right now. Do you think one can attain me only by drinking milk? Not by any austerities can one please me. One can please me only by loving devotion. Instructive pastime that it is not by renouncing. Some people say, Are you have become a brahmachari, you have taken sannyas, you have done this, you have given up so many things. So you must be very dear to Krishna. Not at all. Bhakti is not dependent upon vairagya. Rather, if you perform devotional service, as your taste for Krishna increases, you will develop renunciation to the things in this world. Bhakti is not dependent upon vairagya. Srivas Thakur was a householder, and so many Advaita Acharya and Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It's not dependent upon vairagya. Vairagya is not what you give up. Vairagya is the internal attachment we may cultivate, which goes away only by bhakti. Externals doesn't please Krishna. That's why what is Shuddha Bhakti? It is completely free from external transformation. It's something when our heart is attracted to Krishna and purely to Krishna, and there is no other desire other than loving Krishna. Then one comes to the platform of Shuddha Bhakti, of pure devotional service. That's why it is said, uh, Anya Abhilashita Shunya, Jnana Karma Anamita. Jnana means it does not depend upon knowledge. Yes, Rupa Goswami says initially we need knowledge. We need to know we are not a body, we are spirit, soul. We need to know we are part and parcel of Krishna. We need to know by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we can go back to Krishna. So initially knowledge is required, but not by knowledge can one make progress. Shravan, now, okay, so when we do Shravan, um, for the Shravan about like when we read Bhagavad Gita, it is actually not Gyan, it is actually Bhakti. Um, um, Reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing about Krishna, this does not come under Gyan, because this is considered Bhakti, because this is a prelude to Bhakti. In a way, by hearing we get inspired to uh, like we feel divinity for Krishna by hearing, we feel attracted to Krishna by hearing. That attraction is Bhakti. uh, or we want to chant more, or we are inspired to dedicate our uh, become more serious in Krishna consciousness. So Bhakti includes discussion. Where it comes to Gyan, there are two aspects of it. I am trying to mix two aspects. I will try to explain both more clearly. One aspect of Gyan is there are some people, they read a lot, all the Vedas, gain a lot of knowledge. They say Bhakti is all about knowledge. You are more advanced because you know so many things. So those are not the things that pleases Krishna. That is one aspect of Gyan. Another aspect of Gyan is also um, uh, this is a difficult aspect of Gyan, which is within Bhakti. Like Saraswati Thakur says, we may read many books. Um, we may try from our side many endeavors, but ultimately Krishna's mercy does not depend upon our endeavor. Krishna's mercy is dependent upon his own free will. If Krishna is pleased with a particular Vaishnava, I like this person, then Krishna will attract him to himself. In other words, uh, we make our endeavor, but ultimately our advancement, Prabhupada says, our advancement in Krishna consciousness is not based on our hearing and chanting, but our advancement is based on Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy. So Krishna looks at a devotee and Krishna says, yeah, I like this devotee. And Krishna will pull you. So it is not dependent. Krishna does not like a person based on how much person has read, and not even based on how many rounds person is chanting. Krishna likes a person based on his own free will. And what are the factors that really makes us dear to Krishna? My Guru Maharaj only says two things. And he says, if we are humble, and if we are having the mood of servant, Dasanutas, if we are in a mood of servant of devotees, uh, and if we are in a mood of humility, uh, then uh, we will be then we will be attracted by Krishna. In other words, Krishna's mercy or our progress is not really based on our own planning. So I was talking to one devotee. I mean, this is something other than what I plan to speak. Basically, in essence, I cannot go in more detail on this. In essence, our progress in Krishna consciousness is only based on Krishna's mercy. And my spiritual master says, what attracts Krishna is humility. You see, Look for devotees who are very humble, and you will see you like them. And you look around and look for devotees who are very proud, and you will see you want to maintain distance from them. Even if the person has many great qualities, this one bad quality of pride annihilates everything. This is my few years of experience in Krishna consciousness, that the most attractive quality is actually vinamrata, humility. The person may be highly knowledgeable, chant many rounds, have many ecstatic symptoms, but if he is proud, we want to avoid that person. So when we want to avoid the person who is proud, how can Krishna be attracted to us when we are proud? When we are proud. So this one quality will make you very dear, because we are part and parcel of Krishna. So whatever attracts us is actually because what attracts Krishna, because we are his part and parcel. So when we are attracted by humility, and the reason we are attracted by humility is because Krishna is attracted by humility. So our devotional is not based on Gyan, basically Krishna's mercy, and karma. Devotional service is not based on karma. What all I am doing. Um, just Karma basically means I am doing something and I am attached to the results. It becomes a karma. Bhakti is free from karma. Bhakti is free from jnana. Bhakti is free from anya abhilash, or any desire other than pleasing Krishna. Bhakti means there is nothing else that comes in between. No knowledge, like you see here. There's a picture of Krishna and the gopis. They have many karmas. Their karma may be taking care of many household affairs, taking care of many duties and responsibilities. That's their karma. So they have many things, and they practically may not have any knowledge also. They just go peace cowherd girls. So this is just an example how bhakti is basically when the heart is flowing towards Krishna. Rupa Goswami says that is Shuddha Bhakti. It is not tinged with the desire for karma. I mean, one may perform karma, but the desire, different people will have different karmas. One may perform karma, but Shuddha Bhakti is that is karma doesn't come in a way to Krishna. Rather, while karma one is doing, one is absorbed in Krishna. Uh, or like doing my duties perfectly, will I make progress in Krishna consciousness? Definitely not. You will get good pious activity. You will get a good birth in the next life. But just by being good, doing my duties perfectly, no. Advancement in bhakti is not based on that. Advancement in bhakti is free from the desire for, or the desire for duty, karma, the desire for knowledge, jnana, that any other desire. Anya bilashita shunya, jnana karma anavrita, anukulina Krishna. Anukulina means bhakti is something which is rendered favorably to Krishna. Example is given like Shishupal always remembered Krishna, um, but he was envious of Krishna. So it is pratikul bhakti, unfavorable. Anukulena means you are Krishna's well-wisher. Prabhupada said, I want everyone to become Krishna's well-wisher. I mean, who are we? But Krishna's well-wisher means, um, uh, you want to increase Krishna's pleasure by any means. You want to give pleasure to Krishna. So, Anukulina Krishnanu Jnana Karma Anavritam. Anukulina Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. Shilanam means to follow the previous acharyas, like following the example set by Prabhupada, by our spiritual masters, by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, following the great souls. That is called Shilanam. Bhakti Uttama. That is Uttam Bhakti. One devotee asked me that Are you Anya Bilash? Do you have no other desire other than pleasing Krishna? I said no. Are you free from jnana, desire to gain knowledge? I said no. Then he said, are you free from karma, the desire to perform your duties nicely? I said no. Then he said, see, 3 out of 4 main symptoms of bhakti we fail. So he said, one thing we can try to follow is shilana. He said, shilana means just try to follow uh, pure devotees. Try to follow spiritual master, try to follow Prabhupada. Here, take the instruction, follow. Take the instruction, follow. They say chant 16 rounds, follow. Hear about Krishna, follow. Render some service to Krishna, follow. Humility, servant of servant. So try to follow the examples set by the uh, great souls. So when can we perform Shuddha Bhakti? Well, how it comes is initially we have desire for karma, desire for jnana. We have many other material desires within our heart because of our own anarthas. So by the process of hearing and chanting, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Korodorodoi, by hearing about Krishna and by chanting Krishna's name. Slowly, as our attraction to Krishna will increase, as we become more and more dear, as Krishna's mercy comes, uh, we will become free from anathas will go away, material desires will go away. I mean, Bhakti Marg is actually based on Krishna's mercy. When Krishna's mercy comes, Krishna will attract us to such an extent that we will willingly give up material desire. We will be willing to give up all kind of karma and jnana activities for the sake of pleasing Krishna. And only Krishna becomes our priority. And nothing else, our mind cannot focus on anything else other than pleasing Krishna. That's because that can only come when Krishna will force our heart to attract towards him. So something that Prabhupada defines this Shuddha Bhakti in the beginning of the book. Then continues, okay, so free from material motives, which is Anya Bilashitam Shunya. In this Krishna consciousness movement, one's consciousness must be changed. If consciousness is aimed toward material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. Like I'm doing this, it is service to Krishna, but then I need something for myself here. There is some material enjoyment I want. And usually for devotees, material enjoyment is subtle. They want subtle enjoyment of Dhanam Janam Sundari, Puja, Pratishtha, Labh. So these are, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, weeds. When one is practicing devotional service, one may desire many weeds may grow. So he compares devotional service is like a bhakti lata beach. The seed is given by the mercy of Guru to do hearing and chanting and try to do for the pleasure of Krishna. But then as we water the seed, by seed is like, the faith within the heart that I want Krishna. And then how do you nurture that faith? You hear and chant. You chant Krishna's name. You hear about Krishna. So the faith will grow. You will grow. The faith will grow. And then beach will become a bhakti lata and it will grow. But as the bhakti lata or the small sapling, the small plant of bhakti grows, because we are watering, some weeds will also grow. So Mahaprabhu gives an instruction, be very careful to cut the weeds. We have to go from the material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So if consciousness is aimed towards material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. And if it is aimed towards serving Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. So this is called Anya Abhilashita Shunya. Shunya means zero. No other personal motives. and then transcendental to the activities of body and mind. This is a little bit technical, but somehow some detailed explanation of what is the definition of Shuddha Bhakti. Jnana karma anavrita. Jnana karmadi anavrita, or unalloyed devotional service, which is transcendental to the activities of body and mind, such as jnana. Jnana is a mental activity, and karma is fruitive work, is called pure bhakti. Or basically, uh, uh, anyways, uh, okay, here is an example. Uh, what did Prabhupada say when he said, how should we chant the holy name of Krishna? And Prabhupada said, when you chant the holy name of Krishna, you should cry like a child cry for a mother. What does, when a child is feeling helpless, what does a child do? Uh, Mama, please help me. Uh, I am hungry. I am, I need this. I need to use restroom. I need whatever the child cries and the mother helps. So the child feels helpless. So Prabhupada says, chanting is a crying towards the Supreme Lord. Prayerful mood is emphasized while chanting, because our progress cannot be made by numbers. Numbers means I have done these many rounds, I have read this much. We just, we do it because it's going to purify us. But ultimately, bhakti means taking shelter. Taking shelter means, Krishna, please help me. Krishna, please help me come close to you. That prayerful mood. So it is free from all the dependence on gyan. By, like, for example, okay, here's another example. Okay, I have read all the books. Am I more advanced than those who haven't read all the books? Definitely not. Bhakti is not dependent on gyan. Another example. One person uh, has read only Bhagavad Gita and he doesn't know anything else. A very good example is, there was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was going to South India tour. He met an illiterate. He was a Brahmana. He doesn't know how to read. He doesn't understand anything. He was improperly reciting Sanskrit verses. Um, uh, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to him and he said, and he was crying. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so this Brahmana, he was living at Sri Langam. He doesn't know how to recite verses and what to speak about understanding the meaning of the verse. He doesn't know anything. Um, when he would recite, all the qualified Brahmanas were laughing at him. He was like, like an object of their mockery. Everybody will joke, how does he recite? He doesn't even know what kind of Brahmana he is, useless, illiterate, unpad, gawar. So like that, he was being criticized. But he was reciting it nonetheless, and he was crying. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking by. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, he, what are you, why are you crying? He said, I am crying because my Guru Maharaj asked me to recite this Bhagavad Gita, and I am reading Bhagavad Gita every day to please my Guru Maharaj, but I do not understand anything. Then Mahaprabhu said, then you should not cry. I mean, if you don't understand anything, then why are you crying? Are you crying because you are distressed that others are laughing at you, or you are distressed that you cannot read? Why are you crying? So this illiterate Brahmana said, I am crying because whenever I am trying to read Bhagavad Gita in a broken voices, I am seeing Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has become the humble servant of his own devotee, and he has become a driver. And he is, and Arjuna is kicking him with his foot to go left and to go right and to go straight, because both the ends are so busy and there is no time to speak. So if you have to take the chariot left or right in the war field, you just take your leg and kick on the left side, and then the chariot driver will take the chariot left. You kick him on the right, and take the driver will take the chariot right. You have to go fast, kick him in the middle, and then with your foot, and then he'll go fast. So I'm just quite thinking that how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Abhigya Swarat, out of love of his devotees, he's getting the kicks from his devotees, and that is his happiness. Just by seeing that mood of Krishna, I am crying. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you are actually Bhagavat Acharya, or you are the one who is the Acharya for Bhagavad Gita. You perfectly understood the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. So see from this example how bhakti is free from jnana. Or one may be very learned, like one person came to Prabhupada and he said, I can recite all the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita in 12 minutes. I know Bhagavad Gita so well. So Prabhupada said, can you live Bhagavad Gita for 12 minutes? And he didn't have an answer. So that is an example of jnana. Okay, we know everything. Bhakti is not dependent upon jnana, which in other words, by gaining knowledge, doing lot and lot of books, we are not going to attract Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy comes by his own free will. And what attracts Krishna's mercy is humility. Actually, humility attracts Krishna. So likewise, it is free from karma and jnana. So I'm just trying to stress this point that how Shuddha Bhakti is not dependent upon any of these things, not dependent upon our renunciation, our um, perfectly doing our duties to everything, our varnashram dharma, our knowledge. It is only dependent upon if Krishna is pleased, and if Krishna smiles at us, you will be able to completely absorb in the holy name of Krishna. You will be able to completely focus, and Krishna will reveal within himself within your consciousness if Krishna is pleased with us. Otherwise, we have read everything, we know everything, we are chanting so many rounds, we are perfectly performing our duties. But if Krishna is not pleased with us, and you start chanting holy name of Krishna, and you struggle in chanting holy name of Krishna. So again, what is Shuddha Bhakti? It is not dependent on any external factor other than Krishna's mercy. When Krishna smiles at us, you will flow in your Krishna consciousness. And otherwise, you may be like, great personalities in the world view, but you may not have Krishna's mercy at all. Krishna is, Krishna consciousness is very tricky because it is not dependent upon our position in the institution. It is not dependent upon anything, and it's a very deep topic that I am discussing. It is only dependent upon Krishna's mercy. There is one story also. Somehow I'm spending more time on this than I'm supposed to. So there is one story. You may have heard the story. Very instructive story. Very relevant to me also. So there was a Brahmana and there was a Mochi. This Brahmana was great soul, many followers and many disciples, gives great lectures, very famous all over, highly respected, perfectly following everything that scripture says, does not have any as such bad habits, very strict with one's principles. And then there was a cobbler, Mochi. He would sit under a tree and he would just sew the shoes. That's all. He would take the shoes from everybody's feet, he will stitch it, and he will give them back. And then not going to tell the whole story. I'm sure many of you have heard the story. This Narad Muni was walking by. Brahmana said, when will I go back to Godhead? Okay, I will ask the Lord. Cobbler said, when I will go back to Godhead, I will ask the Lord. The reply came back, Brahmana is not going back to Godhead. in millions of lifetimes, and the cobbler, this is the last life of the cobbler, and this is a Puranic story, it's from a Puran, and this cobbler is going back to God after this life. Whom Krishna chooses. Bhakti is not dependent upon anything external. This is what Rupa Goswami and has emphasized as the definition of Shuddha Bhakti, and Prabhupada is trying to emphasize what is Shuddha Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti is one, favorable to Krishna, following the footsteps of Guru and Gauranga, Guru, Prabhupada, Acharyas, what they say, doing, without any personal motive, and it's not dependent upon karma and jnana. So free, it is transcendental to these activities. Then how Lord's devotee should not be seen. So now we are coming to the topic. That was just the introduction that Prabhupada describes about Shuddha Bhakti. So how now one thing which will hamper our progress in Krishna consciousness is Vaishnava Aparadha, offending a Vaishnava. And this week and next week is going to be everything that we can discuss about Vaishnava Aparadha with various examples. So first is on the external level. Krishna's devotees is not subjected to material conditions, even though his bodily features may appear materially conditioned. One should therefore not see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view. Unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. No one should criticize the bodily defects of a pure devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. This, he is a great soul, but he has only one eye. He speaks very, not in a very good manner, or he is not so beautiful, or he's not from India, or he's not from America, or he externals. Judging, making a conception of a devotee from externals, or he's paralyzed, or his body looks like this, his face looks like this. So no one should criticize bodily defects of a devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. Rather, one don't see a devotee from one's eyes. One see a devotee from one's Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada says, unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. So Prabhupada used to say, it takes one to know one. How Vaishnava Aparadha happens, actually very, 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 very instructive. I have a lot of experiences of this concept from my own life. Unless one is actually a devotee, one cannot see another devotee perfectly. In other words, a pure devotee can understand all the devotees. When a pure devotee sees a junior, he understands what is one's Krishna consciousness platform. But if, like we discussed about Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Kanishthadhikari. So Uttamadhikari can see who is Kanishta, who is Madhyama, who is Uttama. He can identify. A Madhyamadhikari can understand who is Kanishta and who is Madhyama. But a Madhyamadhikari cannot understand who is Uttama. If a Madhyamadhikari sees a Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari will bring the Uttamadhikari to his platform. And he will think like, this is all like this, but yeah, this is this much. He cannot be like at that stage. He cannot understand basically. He will judge him. He will find fault in him. And a Kanishthadhikari cannot understand Madhyamadhikari or Uttamadhikari. He will misjudge. For example, oh, this person, he gives very nice classes, so he must be very advanced. This person, he sings excellently. He must be very advanced. This person has very sweet voice. She must be very advanced. This person, or another case is, oh, this person is sannyasi, but I don't like his kirtan. So actually, he is not so advanced. Actually, I don't feel like he's really such a nice Vaishnava. Maybe a sannyasi, that's okay. He became a sannyasi, but not really. Or I mean, he's a sannyasi, but he doesn't know how to give nice classes, or I'm not very much inspired. So maybe he is okay, but he is not as good devotee as my Guru Maharaj. He's not like, I mean, he has these problems. So these are the two pitfalls of when we try to see a devotee. Either when we are not mature in our Krishna consciousness, when we are at a stage of Kanishtadhikari, which we should feel we are. Madhyamadhikari is actually a very advanced stage. Madhyamadhikari comes when we are free from all the anarthas, lust, anger, pride, envy. They all go away. Then one comes to stage of Madhyamadhikari. So Kanishtadhikari is common platform for most of us. Maybe some of you, maybe Madhyama and Uttama, I don't know. It's between you and Krishna. But generally speaking, for myself, Kanishtadhikari cannot understand other devotees. Prabhupada says, unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. So Kanishtadhikari will always have wrong judgments. And that leads to aparadh, mental offenses. Mental offenses will affect our japa, and definitely it will have an effect on us. And we will discuss this discussion will be a little bit longer if you want to understand different aspect. But the understanding that I cannot see a devotee. We either, I mean, when we are Kanishtadhikari, based on some external symptoms, we can put another devotee on a very high pedestal, or we can put another devotee who is actually on a high pedestal on a very low pedestal, just based on our vision, because our vision is we cannot see beyond us. That's why one has to be careful with not concluding or not judging a Vaishnava. And another thing that happens in the case of external is there is ahankar. And ahankar wants to feel that I am the best devotee. This is how false ego works. So when there is a desire to feel I'm the best devotee, then when we see any devotee, because ahankar wants to feel I'm the best devotee. So ahankar makes us that feeling, that ego that I'm the best devotee, makes us see some fault in others and judge them. And the reason we judge others and the reason we bring them down, we cannot bring them down because they are on the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness that they already are. So we cannot bring them down. We only take ourselves down. But we think that devotee is actually not so good devotee. He is not so nice devotee. But actually, I am just degrading myself. The other person will keep advancing further and further. He is unaffected. But I check my progress. So, so one should not therefore see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view unless one is actually a devotee. He cannot see another devotee perfectly. So best is to not judge, not have conclusions about this. And there is one principle which is very important to understand is pride makes us commit offense. And what is that pride? That pride is that which basically is a manifestation of false ego, that I'm a very good devotee and I become insecure. I'm a very good devotee. So when I see any other devotee, since I'm a very good devotee, so when I see other devotee and he seems to be very good, no, how can he be very good? He should not be very good. So I mentally make him that he is not as good as me. And this is all, this is not, it's so subtle. It's so subtle, but yes, pride comes before fall. First pride comes, we become puffed up, and then when we become puffed up, then we start thinking we are better than others. Then we think we are better than others. Then we judge them, and then we do something, we say something, we act something, we look in a certain way. We, by some, it becomes more prominent, and then we end up in displeasing the other person, and then we may kind of cover ourselves in our own false shell. We may keep us in our shell, and we may keep thinking that, I'm very nice, I'm very advanced, and I'm better than others, but we go nowhere. We only kind of struggle in our own Krishna consciousness. So fault, something Prabhupada says, even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in the loving service of the Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told devotees about Nityananda Prabhu that even if Nityananda Prabhu goes to the bars, do not judge him. Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a sadhu. This is another way aparadh may happen. Actually, it's a very detailed topic because there are so many ways aparadh may happen. And the reason whenever aparadh will happen, offenses will happen, our chanting absorption will be gone. And if we are not able to absorb ourselves in the chanting, it's because of offenses only. So it becomes very important to understand the signs of offenses so we can try to avoid them. And what is this fault? Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activity, he should be considered a sadhu. Suppose one actually does something wrong, like he's actually doing something wrong. Still, scripture says you consider him saintly. This is very difficult. And Krishna says, sadhu eva samantavya samyavisto hisa. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that even if one performs most abominable activity because of the effect of my illusory energy, because the person is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he will very, very soon be purified from these unwanted habits, and he will be established in the self. So what should Krishna says? I consider him saintly because he is engaged in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada gives an example, is like a devotee taking a shower. Shower means he may have a lot of dirt, which is compared to unwanted bad habits. But because he's in a shower, no matter how dirty we are, all the dirt will go away. Likewise, when a person is following Krishna consciousness, no matter how much bad habits one has, one should know that because he is engaging in practice of Krishna consciousness, all good qualities will appear. That's what scripture says, that for a bhakti yogi who is practicing devotional service, all the qualities of devtas will self-manifest. The primary quality of a Vaishnava is surrender to Krishna. As long as one is continuing to take shelter of Krishna, in spite of all the unknown bad habits, if we judge them, although the faults are there, still if we judge them, we commit an aparadha. So something for fault, even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a saintly person. So bodily defects, fault, and then something that family background. A devotee should not be seen from a family background. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami had practically become Mohammedans and had therefore changed their names to Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself made them Goswamis. Therefore, the Goswami title is not hereditary. The word Goswami refers to one who can control his senses, who is the master of the senses. So, family background means, he's a Muslim, or he's an American, or it can be like one can see fault in a way, he is a grihastha, or he is a brahmachari, or he is a sannyas, or he is like this. So based on any kind of background, if we judge a devotee, one person, some people have this misconception that I cannot take guidance from grahasthas because they are grahasthas. I need to take guidance from those who are either brahmachari or sannyasis. No, bhakti has nothing to do with the ashram. Na ham vipra na cha narapati na vivashi na shudra. So a devotee should not be seen or judged. A devotee can only be seen or judged based on how much mercy one has of Krishna. And only a devotee can understand that. So we cannot understand. So this fault finding, judgment, background, bodily defects, these are certain ways Rupa Goswami cautioned us. Please don't see a devotee from all these perspectives. That's why in the previous verse, Rupa Goswami says, even if one is a beginner or a Kanishta Adhikari, one should offer him mentally offer obeisances to him. So a devotee has to be respected in spite of all shortcomings. You see a devotee, you may not, like last week we discussed, you may not desire to reveal your heart to them, but you have no rights to judge them. You can maintain distance, but you have no rights to have negativity for them. That commits an aparadh. You can have the discrimination power, which is okay. You can see that, okay, this devotee is um, kind of engaging in sinful activities, so you may not want his association, but you still have no rights not to respect them. Whether the devotee comes from the family of previous acharyas or from an ordinary family, they should be treated equally. One should not think, oh, here is an American Goswami and discriminate against him, nor should one think, here is Nityananda Vamsa Goswami. This you may see in India. You may go and you may see somebody who is from the line of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu has a son Veerbhadra. He has a son, and somebody says we are from the line of Nityananda Prabhu. So if you go to Eka Chakra, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, there is Nityananda Vamsa Goswami. They come in the line of Goswami. So thinking that they are more advanced than the other devotees, again it becomes an offense. Giving them more respect. Basically seeing a devotee from a family background. Either not liking a devotee from family background or extra liking a devotee from family background. For example, there's a devotee who is a Brahmana or he's a Brahmana devotee. There's a devotee who is by caste Shudra. And then we may say, oh, he's only a Shudra. I don't want it. I don't like him. Or so either giving them more respect or giving them more respect because of the family background by default means we are giving less respect from other family backgrounds. That by default means it's a word of duality. So then that will also should not be seen. One has to be careful. So this particular topic, how devotee should not be seen. Okay. And then the next comes the main topic, which is Vaishnava Aparadha, which is compared to mad elephant offense. We will not discuss this. We will just take some questions and discussions. But just an introduction. An elephant is a very, very dangerous animal. We may be growing our bhakti very carefully, hearing chanting, making it stronger. But then if you're not careful and if we offend a Vaishnava, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compared it to a Hathi Matta. Hathi Matta means an elephant is very, very powerful animal and he can uproot the strongest tree also. So it doesn't matter how strong we have grown in bhakti, offense can destroy everything. If you leave an elephant who is mad elephant, especially it's called mad elephant because mad elephant means you leave him in a forest. Usually elephants are relatively very peaceful animals actually. They just go here and there. You go, you touch the sound of an elephant, you sit on the elephant and he will give you a ride. So, elephants really cooperate. And the person who is riding an elephant with a small stick, he can tell the elephant, go left, go right. And the elephant very peacefully goes left and goes right. But if the elephant becomes mad, then Not even any bones will remain in the body. Every bone will become powder. That much powerful he is. If you climb a tree to avoid the mad elephant, the elephant will uproot the tree and take you from there also. Nothing can save us. So mad elephant offense means no matter who we are, where we stand, nothing will save us. Means, and it is said that it is discussed that in the jungle, the most uh, powerful animal is actually a mad elephant, not a lion or a tiger. No, an elephant can run away from these, but if the elephant is mad, he can powder a tiger or lion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compares it to a most dangerous animal who actually destroys everything. Likewise, there is this aparadh. And then we will discuss about subtle offenses and gross offenses, how gross offenses are very dangerous and how subtle offenses we have to become careful not to avoid them, something on those lines. So let's see if there is some discussion at this point of time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Yatin Prabhu, Dandavat, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you mentioned about personal interest. So we should not have personal interest. Or so you also mentioned the story of a milk having Brahmana, like he was performing austerity only of milk, and then he thought of looking the dance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is that a personal interest?
Well, that's that example of a milk drinking brahmachari. That's what you're talking about, right, bro?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is an example of how our austerities and our renunciation cannot please Krishna. Only a prayerful, humble mood to, my Lord, please help me, a crying mood to Krishna calling out, a servant of devotees. These are the mood that pleases Krishna. Not because I'm very austere or I'm very renounced or I'm very knowledgeable or I do my duties perfectly. None of these things is bhakti dependent upon. Personal motive can be anything other than like, okay, I'm doing this. What do I want from this? I want to please Krishna or I want something for myself. When there's something for myself, then um, that is not Shuddha Bhakti. Now, that is actually not at all Bhakti. But if suppose I'm doing a devotional service and then why I'm doing it? I'm washing the pots. I am cleaning the temple hall. I am any devotional service. I am chanting. Why I'm doing it? I'm hearing. Why I'm doing it? I'm cooking. Why I'm doing it? Whatever service we may be doing for Krishna, we see. Okay, what do I want from this? And I'm cooking to become a famous cook. I am cleaning to become to be known as a very humble Vaishnava who does a menial service. I want something for myself, then the bhakti becomes contaminated, like sand in sweet rocks. So Anya Vilashita Shunya means I have no personal motives. Krishna is in the center. I don't want to be in the center. I want always to be Krishna in the center. So that is a symptom of Shuddha Bhakti. Did I answer, Prabhu?
Prabhuji, like in suppose like we are doing something like you said the temple seva, but instead of like I'm doing it for the love of Krishna because I love him, I'm doing it so I can become humble. So is that a personal like?
Yeah, no, that's not a personal motive. That's a right motive. To love Krishna, to please Krishna, for Krishna, or to make progress in my Krishna consciousness, they are very good. I want to develop deeper taste for holy name. That's why I'm doing. That's very good. So, did I answer no?
Yes,
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. When we say Anya Abhilash means any personal desire. Krishna conscious desire is great. Okay. Any other discussion?
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Anant Haridas here. Prabhuji,
My inquiry is, Prabhuji, like we hear that whoever Krishna chooses will get his mercy, like that way. And one quality which attracts Krishna is humility. So, Prabhuji, I read in Gita about humility. Prabhupada says there that one who is not anxious to derive satisfaction from being honored by others is humility. So, Prabhuji, any more inspiration on this humility aspect, like uh, any more light on what is the basic principle of humility? Like anything you want to inspire on this person?
No, actually, there are, humility is such a big topic that there are many aspects to humility, many aspects. Like, okay, I want to be respected by others. This is a sign of false pride because I feel like I deserve to be respected. Or maybe I don't deserve to be respected. I just want to be respected because I enjoy being respected for whatever reason. I mean, uh, uh, this is lack of humility. So Prabhupada gives this is very, very um, 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 commonly seen example where one wants to be respected by everyone. This desire is there. And the Shivra Maharaj also mentions even wider definition of humility. He says becoming tolerant like a tree, becoming humbler like a grass, or grass is like when it is mistreated. Um, the grass does not retaliate when it is chastised, tolerates. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example, so many examples where he actually taught us humility. Prabhu. Ramchandra, he said, Kaviraj, Ramchandra Kaviraj, he said, there is ant outside your room to Lord Chaitanya. So means you are eating sweetmeats. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not retaliate. He tolerated. And then he took the criticism. He didn't try to prove his position. Or maybe like um, um, Ramchandra Kaviraj also said, you eat too much. So he accepted and he reduced his eating to one half. So there are certain cases where you are not even at fault and you are put into a difficult situation. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always like a grass. Grass means tolerance means not tolerating only when somebody does wrong to us, but even when we are without fault and somebody does something, still like Shivas Thakur's humility when um, um, Gopal Chapala, he said that whole night you engage in sinful activities with women, wine, and dancing and meat. That's what you do whole night. And he called all the villagers. And Shivas Thakur looked and he did not try to um, kind of um, establish himself as no, this is a false accusation. I mean, he didn't even do that. He didn't even want to maintain his respect for the villagers. He simply said, yeah, okay. So now you all know what kind of personality I am. I mean, it's a very, very unthinkable state of consciousness, actually. Very difficult to copy, very difficult to understand also. Many questions will come on this consciousness because we are not on that stage. So he says, humble than a grass means when put down, one does not retaliate. Tolerant than a tree, when without even any mistake, if something bad happens, tolerate and not justifying oneself uh, for for anything or for honor, and then not expecting any respect. So this is the definition that Prabhupada gave, is not expecting any respect for oneself. Amanina, and then giving respect to others. Giving respect to others, those who are sinful, those who are against us, or maybe envious of us, or maybe dislike us, or maybe criticizing us, and those who are kind of unkind towards us. And if we are unkind towards them, it's a sign of lack of humility. If we are respectful to them, besides what they are doing to me, it's a sign of humility. So my Guru Maharaj says that when somebody is unkind to us. And if we're actually humble, then we will feel like that is true. Somebody says anything, then a non-humble person will try to see how the other person is wrong and how injustice is happening to him. But when one is humble, then anybody says anything and the devotee thinks that that is true. That was the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You eat too much, yeah, that is true. These ants means you are hypocrite. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes, that is true. You are like this, that is true. You are like that, yes, that is true. And he would see everybody. So he exhibited that level of humility required to receive Krishna's mercy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says, Chaitanya Charitamrita, anybody says anything, do not retaliate. Do not demand, do not retaliate. Probably our life will go in trying to apply this principle. And if actually our life goes in applying this principle, we will attain Krishna by the end of this life because we will become the recipient of Krishna's mercy. Our advancement is not dependent upon jnana, karma, or our practices. It only depends upon if Krishna is attracted by us. That's why so many spiritual masters, they don't speak anything other than humility and servant of servant, humility and servant of servant, because our progress is not dependent upon anything other than Krishna's mercy. And we want to become attractive so Krishna's mercy or Krishna's glance can fall upon us. So that's my some reflections on that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Feels like hearing more and more. Grateful.
Thank you for the kind words. Any other question? Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Shweta Mataji.
Prabhuji, by nature, if we don't, like talking for myself, if I don't have that humility nature, I can develop it through devotional service, like chanting and hearing only, or any consciously, like if a thought comes, like you said, when somebody is not very kind to us, just because that I reflect the same nature to them, that is not a sign of humility, right? So if a thought comes like about a person who is not very kind or friendly towards us, immediately I show my anger on them. It is all at the mental level. But now that it is not a nature, it is not, I can understand I do not have humility, so I have to change myself. So consciously, if I try to eradicate that thought, will that help? Or devotional service is the only medium in which this can be changed?
What happens, Amataji? Few things may help. One is association of humble people will help. Association means we see them, we see how they behave in different situations, like more of a personal watching. That is very inspirational. That's one way. Another way that Krishna will arrange, if we are sincere, then Krishna will create troubles in our lives. Krishna will put us in association of those people who actually will, through a little difficult way, they will make us humble. That is also Krishna's mercy. All of our association is actually meant for our purification. All what we call as bad association, in a way, something that gives us pain, it's all Krishna's arrangement uh, in our lives. And you will see that sometimes we may do something wrong, then we condemn ourselves. By doing that, we have made progress. We misbehave and we condemn ourselves. When we condemn ourselves, we are basically telling ourselves, don't do like this. There is some deeper realizations coming, how not to act in what situation. If we repeat it, we condemn ourselves doubly. We do it again, then we feel like, I am not a Vaishnava. I am a sadhu, asadu. So This is also Krishna's arrangement for us. So ultimately, if we are sincere, Krishna will make arrangements in our life that he will make us uh, uh, develop those qualities. And the reason we are able to see that, reflect upon it, desire that, once we desire, Krishna will give. The reason that desire is coming, the reason we are criticizing ourselves, the reason we are finding fault in ourselves, it's all the mercy of this is actually a good quality which is coming from hearing and chant. And hearing also gives us guidance. By hearing, we get guidance. By physically seeing, we get guidance. By experiences, we get guidance. So these are various ways Krishna is trying to tune us so we can make progress. Does it help, Mataji? Is it all right?
So if we keep on saying that if I'm going to act or react in a particular situation, that is not going to, if I'm able to um, consciously make aware of the situation that Krishna is ultimately going to be not pleased, if a thought comes even before reaction, so that will be a sign of realization, right, Prabhuji?
The thought come that Krishna will not be pleased with me by this behavior.
Yeah, if I'm going to react like
Krishna is not going to be pleased.
like as I.
Yeah, very good. That's a sign of humility. That's very good. Sign of lack of humility is like I'm right. This is why they are behaving like this. This is how they should be treated. This is the right behavior. That's a sign of false pride. Sign of humility is being conscious. Itself a sign of humility. Itself is Krishna's mercy that you are thinking and you are trying. Sometimes mistakes may happen. Don't worry about it. Just remember the verse. Api che suduracharo bhajante mam ananeba. Sadhu eva samantavya samya visto hisa. What is our position? Krishna will make us difficult situation in our life. Try your best. Grow. Try your best. If you fail, don't be depressed. Don't worry about it. Try once more. Krishna will put us in the same situation again tomorrow. And then try. And then Krishna will put us even more difficult situation. As you are getting more strength, Krishna will give you even more difficult tests. Be grateful to Krishna for the difficult tests you are facing through. Don't be unkind to the person who is becoming an instrument of Lord Krishna, who has come as Krishna's mercy upon us. Be kind. If you can think in that way, he is Krishna's instrument. He is coming in this way. And then I should behave in this way so I can please Krishna. Means consciousness has grown a lot more. And that's how slowly, if we keep this path, Krishna will make sure we'll come back to God. Does that answer?
Definitely, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Anything else? Okay. So we will end here now. My obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Panchakalpatarubhesha kripa sindhu vedevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananda Koti Vaishnavendra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.